in the United States, obviously we know that pre-orders were supposed to go live on April 9th, but that didn't happen, right? The tariffs got announced, and they were, kind of playing it by ear, seeing what was going to happen. And then now they have finally gone ahead and given the official new pre-order date of when pre-orders are going to go live here in the United States. And then the big question was, were they going to increase the price? Right? It was already a lot, $450 for the hardware. Again, in current times, a new console going for $450, $500 doesn't seem out of the norm, but for the power level that it's exhibiting and for how narrow it is, right? Like, the scope is not the same as when you buy a Steam Deck or if you buy a ROG Ally or something like that, right? You have power, but you also have access to everything in the world. Whereas they want you to spend $450 to $500 on first party Nintendo games. You know what I'm saying? Like, only when they just were at $300. Oh, by the way, they looked like they could run on that $300 console. Matter of fact, most of the games they showed do in fact run on the $300 console. So it's a real wild situation, right? So we were wondering if that was going to happen. Is it going to be something where you're going to have, it's going to go from 450 and 500 to higher, right? But I guess the good news for some is that no, they are not raising the price of the console. You heard that? How I stopped there? Of the console. Okay, they didn't raise the price of the console.
What could that mean?
So on April 24th, that's the new official pre-order date, you can go and spend $450 or $500 on a new Switch, either with or without Mario Kart. But this is the tricky shit. This is the tricky shit. This is the genius shit that Nintendo did, because the world is going to focus on the fact that the console is the same price. But they have made all the prices of all the accessories more money. Now, when we think accessories, you're talking things that are necessary, like a controller, right? You want an extra pro controller? You're buying a Nintendo Switch. If you're an old person buying a Nintendo Switch, you need more than one controller. Okay. Prices go up on the regular controller. Prices gone up with the Joy-Cons. Everything's gone up. Now, how often do you buy
play Mario Kart with?
Exactly. Right? How often do you buy a regular console if you're not just buying the new edition of it? One time, right? But how often do you buy a new controller because they went bad? We know these new Joy-Cons do not have Hall effect thumb pads or thumbsticks, right? So are they going to get stick drift again? Of course they're going to tell us, oh, we made sure that it won. Yeah, but you kind of...
But they will.
But they will, right? So, so this is what they did. Now, I do have thankfully, IGN, believe it or not, we're kind enough to put a little message together in video format with words and such. So let's write it. I mean, let's listen to it, and then we will discuss it. Let me add it over here. Go here. Click that. Click this. Do a little bit of that. Do a little of this. And here we are. Bam. Are you ready? Listen.
The Nintendo Switch 2 and Mario Kart World bundle prices are staying the same at $449 and $499, but Switch 2 Pro controller is now $84.99. An extra set of Joy-Con are now $94.99.
$5.
Charging grip, $39.99.
$5
Joy-Con
extra.
2 strap, $13.99.
$1.
Joy-Con 2 wheel set, $24.99.
$5.
Nintendo Switch 2 camera, $54.99.
$5.
Nintendo Switch 2 dock set, $119.99.
$10.
Nintendo Switch 2 carrying case and screen protector, $39.99.
$5.
Nintendo Switch 2 all-in-one carrying case, $84.99.
$5.
Nintendo Switch 2 AC adapter, $34.99.
$5.
Nintendo Switch 2 with Mario Kart World with all accessories, an extra set of Joy-Con, an extra dock, and AC adapter, now $1,093.89. Pre-orders in the US are now happening on April 24th
That's real
after
wild.
Nintendo pushed them back, citing new tariffs as the reason. Thankfully, the console and Mario Kart World prices have remained unchanged. But how are you feeling about the increase?
Oh,
for
thank
everything
goodness.
else?
See,
Thankfully,
but
you
that's
see
key.
that?
That's key. That's how they sound like, oh my gosh, look at these
Thank
heroes.
God.
Look at
They
what
didn't
they've
go even
done. They
higher.
didn't hire the price. I mean,
Wow.
because they're gonna get you where they're really where it's really gonna hurt, right? All of these accessories. The console wasn't necessarily the issue. It was everything else, including the games. And so when you and by the way, yes, going up $150 is like, oh wow, okay, Nintendo, especially the way they showed up. But it's like, something you have to kind of think about for a moment. But you're like, okay, F it. Why not if I want it, right? But they're gonna get you with everything else. And here we go. These are the things that you need multiple of, right? These are the things that easily break, and that you're going to potentially buy more than once. And let's not forget those games, right? That's the thing. These motherfuckers now trying to patch up what took place, because even in this video you hear it and they're like, well, at least they didn't raise the console price.
You heard that?
No,
and
F
the games.
that.
At least
And
that's
the
the
games.
thing.
Yeah, but the
At
games are
least
already.
They went up to
But that's
80.
this is.
And
Let
they
me
didn't go
remind
higher.
everyone that these prices were already raised, right? They were already raised.
That's for a while. Let me ask you a question, Hargeet. We had a discussion about it before, but we know that the percentage went crazy high, and then they started taking things out that weren't going to be affected by the tariffs, right? But you said that, well, the base has now risen, right? So do you remember what it rose to?
The base for what tariffs?
Yeah,
it's from 2.5 to 10.
to 10. Okay. So just the quick question. Some of the things, everything's obviously different prices. They chose $5 to make it across the board, right? For most of the things. And then some things are $10.
Yeah.
Price increase, right? But if you have something that's $20 and the price goes up to $25, how much of a percent increase is that?
Yeah, so if it's $5 on something that's 80, it's not that much, right? But I think what they're looking at is the cost, because I think tariffs don't.
You're asking
on
for that
MSRP.
25% increase, right? See?
Yeah, and
25%. Because even if it's not that much, it's still on something low. If you raise it 25%, you're still getting an extra 25%. And
yeah, but I think tariffs are not based on the MSRP. I think they're based on the cost of the good coming in, right? So, like, if you're building a controller, the controller probably costs the controller itself is probably like $15 to make or something like that. So let's assume it's something like that, right? So the $5 is actually the 25%, right? Because they're just costing that up for you, and then there's profit that they're going to take, and then the retailer takes a part of it, right? So that's how it becomes whatever it is, right? $85. That's fucking insane. But anyway, but that's the way it is, I guess. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Tariffs do not work on MSRP; they work on the cost of the good coming in. So whatever it costs to make it, or whatever, that's what the tariff is on. So so you declare a value of what it costs you to bring that thing over, to make that thing and bring it over, right? Not what you're going to charge. So they essentially have basically taken the 25%. That's what they're doing. So they're just doing it for everything else. They're not doing it for the consoles. And that, there was an article out there, I don't know if it's true or not, that said 800,000 units had already been shipped into the US already. right? So that's pre-tariff. Or pre the additional tariff, right? So so they already have those here, and I'm guessing that they're
price for those.
Yeah, and they're just they just say, hey, we already had them here. We're just going to charge you for that, right? So we're going to keep that there, and then I'm sure they're hoping that there's a way that they can, once things settle a bit, that they find a way to keep selling at that price, whether it's build in Mexico and ship it over, whether it's build here, whatever it is, right? Or build in one of the Southeast Asia countries and they get a better deal. That I'm guessing that's what they're trying to do, right? But they can't.
These are still negotiations. They're still going back and forth. Well, so it may not. What's happening is that this is where it's going to stay, regardless of where these tariffs end up.
No.
Yeah.
No. They said it can go up.
Yeah, and I think that they did warn that, right? They did warn that. It's like, you should buy now because if you
that's
don't,
the selling point.
Yeah, so let me read.
And by the way, shout out to our boy El Vampiro Borracho, who brought this topic up as well in our Discord and added us to make sure we know about it.
Whatever. This is their problem to solve. But yeah, it is very interesting how they're like, so essentially they're saying we're giving up on the accessories. They're going to continue to be built in China and we will just take the cost and give it to you. Okay, whatever. Fine.
That's wild.
So now we'll have to see how that works out. Do people want to buy these things? $85 for a controller. Okay.
I think Nintendo had their Sony PlayStation 5 Pro moment. They already got the Xbox One moment. Now it's a PlayStation 5 Pro moment.
And I think they've had a PS3 moment. I think this is the PS3 moment.
PS3 moment. Mm-hmm. It's the Xbox One moment wasn't about price. It was about online.
That was about internet, right? And I think people have gotten over that now. Internet, everybody accepts internet, right?
Everyone's good.
It's not a big deal breaking anymore. Now it's good, yeah.
So, but the price, this is literally the PS3 launch, right? Because the PS2 was ultra cheap and everybody bought it. It was the DVD player du jour. Everybody bought it, right? So, and then they go to PS3 and it's like, oh, we think $600 is fine. Oh, you can't afford that? Why don't you get a second job? That was literally their messaging. And you're like, okay. And this is exactly what they're doing. The Switch was reasonably priced. $300 is still a bit of money, but it's not as bad as $450, right? It's a sticker shock. It's a sticker shock. And you're like, oh, well, if you can't afford it, buy the old one. Oh my God, how do you say that?
Exactly.
They literally are having a PS3 moment. That's what they're doing. Right.
Harky, when you go to the Rolex auction, you just don't say, like, you just don't tell Rolex that you won't be able to afford it. You just go ahead and you're supposed to have the money, because what are you even there? I mean, that's according to Reforge, and that's a comparison that he made in one of the videos with Island Gaming with Jay. Shout out with him. Shout out to him. He put a clip of Reforge saying that, that example that I just gave you. And I meant to say that, Nintendo had the PlayStation 5 Pro moment, in the sense that they are selling you the console by itself at a higher price that they're supposed to, obviously. And they're also selling you like the bunch of all the shit that the console needs, at a high price too. And this is like, it feels like, okay, Nintendo, they massage one leg and they shoot and stop the other. Right? It's like, okay, I'm gonna keep the prices good, but in the console, but they like every accessory is gonna be $5 more expensive, and that way you don't even feel the damage that I'm doing to you.
They're really inflicting the damage is being done for sure. Like and the damage with the console, been there, done that. They're just not going higher than that.
Right.
There was obviously a lot of money in there.
That doesn't make it any better. They just make it even more scummier, because this is supposed to be a family gaming console for the family. You just don't go ahead and fuck with the kids like this, man. Oh my God, Nintendo, what in the hell are you doing? They gotta be called out, bro. And like some fans, I've seen a lot, bro. Nintendo fans are on some other shit. They are like, bro, at least say it, bro. Like, we don't like the prices. And I seen, like, you guys seen the Mario Kart 8 gameplay review thing that they had yesterday?
No.
And they want to charge you $80 for that shit. Like, it want to be Mario, a Super Mario Kart game trying to be Forza Horizon, because that's just what I seen in their reveal. It's just like a straight up garbage, bro. It's straight up garbage. There's no other way of putting this. It's garbage. This is trash.
They somehow made the game look worse. As soon as you get off the beaten road, right? Get off the tracks. If you're not in the direct sunlight where they have some decent looking lighting, all the textures are so flat. Everything is so bad in the outworlds, all that middle ground. Come on, man.
It's not that they somehow made it worse. It's that they showed you more of it, right?
Yeah.
So
it's essentially
exposed.
Yeah, literally
also,
exposed.
Like, before. Yeah.
Get it? See.
I get it.
Maybe last generation when they showed Mario Kart, nobody gave a shit about how Mario Kart looked, right? Because it was worth the same. But now it's worth more, and people are going to start asking questions, and that's just how it is. Like if you come to my restaurant, right, and you used to buy the rebuy, all right, and you buy the rebuy always at $10 in my restaurant, and the next time I charge you $15, you're gonna be like, yo, so like, what's new here with the rebuy? Like what do you do to it? Like, did you spank it a little bit? Did you massage the cow before you killed it? If this is why you asking questions because you're getting a price increase, and that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. And I don't see Nintendo guys doing it online. I've seen it more during the showcase that they had yesterday. I've seen it, a lot of people saying drop the prices, all of that in the live chat. But like when you go out there on Twitter, people like are defending Nintendo still. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are. I think there's plenty of Nintendo fans that are also kind of annoyed. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of people also defending. Well, I don't know what the lot is. This is always the problem with like Twitter. It's like 10 people that are defending it. It seems like a lot, right? But it's like 4,000 people are saying "F you, Nintendo. What are you doing?"
Right.
But you just don't see that enough. It's the signal, right? But
you know what? Also the people who are saying these things, their words have more weight because they have
that's always the problem, right? And the algorithm's like, oh, there's more engagement for this, let's make it more.
Exactly. So it's not the same when I say something that when CMoney says it or here, you know what I'm saying? Because this obviously a bigger channel with way more weight. So you got to understand that these people making the noise, they're making the right noise that Nintendo want to hear. What you want is the biggest, you know what I'm saying? The biggest channels, the biggest personalities online to be out there, raising their voices and letting Nintendo know how, much of the fuck up this is, but they're not doing it,
I think the ultimate answer is going to be dollars that people spend. If people don't buy this thing, they're going to get the message. And that's what happened with PS3.
Yep.
People didn't buy. They're like, okay, $600. No, thank you. And it's like, wait, and the enthusiasm on the other side, Xbox has got what games? Holy crap, dude. Like, we're going to go play over there. Right. And that's what ended up happening. Right. So look, if this continues this pattern, we'll see how many people want to spend the money, right? It's a different ball game now for Nintendo. They really are trying to upscale into the big boys territory. Like, then you have to bring it. Unfortunately, if you're going to do that, they would have been better off spending, like, say it's instead of $450, it's $500 or $550, but the graphics match, right? You're getting like, your PS5 level or something like that, right? It's not that level, right? So we'll see. I don't want to make any claims yet because the thing hasn't come out, right? Once it comes out, we'll know what it's really like. But so far, like I think CMoney, you were saying that comparisons have been to PS4, not to 5. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, if that's what you're giving me, the PS4 didn't launch at $450, right? Like, it's like, how much was the it was $400 if I remember right. Is that right? PS4 was $400, correct? And the PS4
and we also got to take into account how much is it worth now, though. Like, that's another thing, because back when that came out, when the PlayStation 4 came out, it was new tech and it was all great and dandy. But if you're showing up with old tech and you're charging $450, it's like, no, the value even of the obviously the PlayStation 4, different time.
Yeah, exactly. That's very old technology, right? And you're like, okay, you kind of caught up to that. And literally that's what it is. Like they caught up to chat, which we've had on like Xbox since 2002. It's like, okay, thank you. You finally put that in. Yay. Right. Like they really are just catching up to the big boys. And that's fine. But like if you're going to charge that level, then people are going to have expectations. And that's kind of the problem you run into here. I'm curious what happens with this one. This is a very interesting one, right? $95 for Joy-Cons, dude. Seriously, $95 for Joy-Con.
You know,
Jesus
this
Christ.
is the thing. There was a lot of capping for the PlayStation 5 Pro, and then you see the sales. There's a lot of hype and bullshit about Astrobot, and then you see the sales. So it doesn't matter how much people want to, and I get it. It does influence others. However, people are not like, you can't make money appear or in people's wallets, right? Or their bank accounts. Or you also cannot go ahead and, even though you're hyping up something, you can't make them want to do something that they don't want to spend their money on or they don't see the value in. And I think that that's when it's really going to kick in, because again, we heard the developers talking about these games, but they don't show up for them. So you can talk about Nintendo all you want, but we will see what happens. And I'm not talking about the initial, they got people hyped on the idea that, the prices can go up later on, or, oh, look, the console now is saying the same, these mind games that they're out there trying to play. That initial, Nintendo fan is going to jump in. Maybe not with multiple consoles, but they would maybe buy that one console and say, okay, I won't get a couple or a few this time. I'm just gonna reel it in and just get one. Also the sales with the trade-ins. A lot of people are going to bring in their Switch 1 to go ahead and get that money and put it towards the Switch 2. So that also has an effect. I don't know. I think once the things really kick in and we see what happens, I really want them to just fall on their face. And I feel like people are going to talk when it comes to actually spending the money.
Mom, my Joy-Con broke.
Exactly. Yo, so frustrating. They don't have, they don't have things that necessarily go on sale, right? So now you're thinking, like you said, Hargi, this is not an impulsive situation where you're gonna go ahead and just say, F it, let me get a freaking console, just throw it in there. No, you're looking at the price tag and you're like, okay, $500 with the game. Hold up. It's something that you think about. As soon as I see that, I'm thinking about how many Joy-Cons I had to buy, how many controllers I had to buy, how many of them broke, and it's ridiculous.
Yes.
It's a different. Crazy. We're talking two different things.
Yeah, it's not affordable.
Now, hopefully, there'll be like third-party controller support, and they'll be cheaper. Right, there is for the Switch 1. That like $85 for a controller too. Like, okay, I mean, hopefully it's really good, but seriously.
But even those now, right? When things are going up, you're like, okay, well, hold on. Now I have room. Even if you're not necessarily putting much more into it, you're like, I have some room to go ahead and bring up the prices, right? So this is a domino effect that we're going to go ahead and feel.
This is gonna be interesting times, man. We're gonna see how this plays out. Like
$99. Look what it brings. Look, this is the Wolverine V3 Tournament Edition, right? What does it have? What does it have in the back? You see 4 buttons in the back. You got trigger stops. You know what I'm saying? It's fire.
Right on time demo. It's popped
fire.
Up.
It's fire for $99. How can Nintendo compete with these? Not only that, you got Power A Fusion, which is like for $70, gives you also, buttons in the back, which are very popular because kids right now they just want to do everything, right? So I mean. That right there is bad value because even the what is it, the Xbox Elite core is better value because you get the core and you got an amazing controller with lots of durability. It's like literally one of the best controllers in the market too. I mean, and these Joy-Cons, how good can they be, man? I don't know. I have to try them out, but they don't look like like too much to me. They look very cheap still. like same cheap plastic from Super Nintendo. You know, I mean, actually, Super Nintendo has way better plastic than this. Straight up. Yeah, it is the same thing.
Mm-hmm. So that brings up the other controversy, which is the cloud saves. They have not told us yet, right? They said that you can get some things with the expansion pack and the Switch Online. I don't know that they've told us the price for Switch Online for Switch 2. I don't know that that's come out. Does anybody recall that? Have we ever heard?
I didn't even think that there was I didn't even think about them raising the price on that.
I would be very skeptical that they wouldn't, right? Like, think about everything else they're increasing the price, right? You think they're going to skimp on this one? Like, we'll see. Maybe they keep it the same. That'd be awesome. But they raised everything else. Their competitors charge a lot more money. I don't know.
Listen, if they're trying to go ahead and match up their competitors when it comes to the console, I think we can expect them to go ahead and try to do the same with everything else.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully they don't. Hopefully it stays the same, but I would not be shocked that like in the next month we find out, oh, by the way, the reason the Switch Cloud Saves isn't there is because there's a new Switch 2 model of the online service. So the pricing is here.
So what's the actual word? So per Nintendo, there is no cloud saves.
No, what they did is they had in Japan, they didn't have this, but in the pages on EU and North America, they had that you cannot, that the cloud saves to the Switch Online service will not be supported for the Switch 2 version. And then they rescinded that, right? So, and I'm assuming this is because they haven't told us yet that there's a Switch 2 online service, and you're going to have to upgrade to that. This is my guess.
One online.
Total guess.
So are they saying that if you have right now a game that you were playing, for instance, a Zelda, and your game was on the Switch, and now you're buying a Switch 2, and you want to continue your progress, that doesn't exist.
They'll let you. They'll let you continue your progress. So it'll pull the game saves in, no problem. But then from there, you're not saving it back to Switch Online. What I'm guessing is that means it's not Switch 2 Online.
So it's like
they're going to have a Switch 2 online.
They're bringing people forward, not letting you go back.
Correct. But now I don't know what that, like, again, it could be that it's the same service and it's just, hey, you can't go backwards to the Switch Online and go and play on the original Switch. You have to do it from the new Switch 2. Fair enough. Okay, that's fine. But I would not be shocked if they come out and say, oh, by the way, there's a Switch 2 version of the cloud, the online service, and it's a little bit more money. You know, we had to pay for that chat service.
That'll be real wild because that's some trash. That's some real trash right there. That's some real trash. That would be real. Honestly, that would be real crazy. If that
it's speculation, total speculation, right? But it would not shock me. It would not shock me. It would not shock me. You look at all the things they're doing, you're like, okay, it would just not shock me that suddenly the Switch Online for Switch 2 is different price, and you have to pony up there as well.
That's real crazy,
man. Yeah,
that's real crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I think the idea that they are not trying to kind of keep the Switch 1 and the Switch 2. I don't know. It sounds weird because they do have like you can use your Switch 1 as like controllers on the Switch 2, right? Like they have a lot of compatibility there. Why would they kind of shut? Are they? Do you think this is just their way of trying to push everybody forward?
So it could just be that they haven't worded it correctly, and that the format for saves is different, and therefore it cannot be compatible backwards, right? So you can't take the save of a Switch 2 game and play that on a Switch 1. Okay, that's fair. Fine, I get it. But if it's, hey, we haven't told you yet that there's a whole new service that you have to pay for that costs more money, that's why it's not going to work. That would be That'd be rather interesting. But we shall see. We shall see, right? I don't know what the reasoning is, because normally what you can do is have in your save, you can just have features unavailable on that platform and just say this will be ignored, right? So the format on the other side can handle it, right? It'll just say, okay, I'll just send you over the stuff that's only relevant to you, right? So Switch 1, you'll just get the stuff that you need, and Switch 2, you'll get the extended enhanced version that has the Switch 2 stuff. Right. So, and that's back compatibility, just kind of works back and forth. Right. So, but that's not what they're doing here. So, so I don't know. We'll see. Right. Then again, I don't know how many times they've ever done this, which is 0 because they don't have any service like this before. So, maybe they're just, finding their feet here and they don't understand how to do this the correct way. That's also a possibility. Right.
Stupid Nintendo.
So,
the worst.
But anyway, but I still think it's a possibility that they will announce later on. Oh, by the way, your Switch 2 online costs more.
That would be real wild, actually, because that would take everything and just kind of slap you in the face, right? Like, it's like, dude, you're already raising the price of the console from what the Switch 1 went. You're raising the price of the games, raising the price of the goddamn fucking accessories, and now you're gonna raise the online. You don't even. I mean, listen.
Again, just my
fair. Remember, you are paying more if you want that expansion pack, right? There's 2 tiers already. There's just the regular one, and then you pay more if you want the expansion pack, which they're already doing separation there, right? Remember, the GameCube games are only on the Switch 2. They're not on the regular one, right?
Yep.
So. Yeah, that would be real crazy. That would be real crazy. All right. Anything else on Nintendo? Any other things you guys want to talk about this before we move forward to the next topic?
Get Nintendo out of here, bro. Nobody cares. We never cared before. We don't care now. We never will. Go ahead.
Well, especially
I'll
now.
still buy one when that Mario and Zelda come out. I think I'll get one anyways. But yeah,
you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem.
Hey, I have a 4090. I'm definitely part of the problem.
I'm just gonna
still
say
trying
this.
to find a 5090. Goddammit!
Right.
I'm just gonna say
definitely
this.
part of the problem because I overspend on things I don't. You don't need a 4090. We can live with a 4070 or 4080. It's totally fine. But it's like, no, I can buy that thing. I'm gonna buy it.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm already jealous about this new the new DLSS transformer or whatever the fuck that I can't use because I don't have a 50 series. So annoyed.
Yes, Devo, you're right. I am part of the problem, but I am a very small percentage of players. Like CMoney, we actually have that level. There's not that many people who have a 4090, but hey, whatever. We have the money.
But also, Hargy, in this case, okay, you are not like most people, right? You are heavily invested in this heavy. And you obviously, can afford it, right? Like I always say, you ain't tripping if you got it. But let's say you are a 9-to-5 person, you know what I'm saying? That are like struggling out there to get groceries.
Yeah.
Like this shit doesn't look good for you, in any way, shape, or form. So that's what I'm coming from. Yeah, but like if like I always say, like spend your money, whatever you want. If you are going to enjoy it, why not go ahead and do it? But at the same time, like be mindful, like you buying this and then each accessory is expensive. You need, this and that. It's just like, it's like buying a Tesla, it's like, and you're gonna have to go through some shit because it's, it is what it is. So, I mean, whoever buy it, enjoy it. I mean, my kid is gonna be on Xbox from the get-go. He's gonna be on the cloud. It's gonna be on the PC.
Look,
he's probably gonna be playing old Super Nintendo games.
You gotta get him in now. You know what I'm saying? Get him in now. Get him used to rocking.
It's a baby still.
Chances are
that's what they
like
want. Kids like freaking mobile, and then they move to PC. That's kind of what they want, anyways, right? Unless you introduce the Nintendo world to them, right? The only thing I see that pulls them in is if they happen to get into Pokemon, because that one is kind of locked to Nintendo, right?
Yeah,
but otherwise,
Pokemon,
but it's also on mobile. Hargy.
What was that?
Also on mobile. Pokemon. They're making it
mobile,
bro.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Pokemon
as
Go.
long as the mainline games are all available everywhere, that would be great. But I think the mainline games are only on Nintendo, but they do have a mobile game too. Right? Well, I don't know, but like that's the only thing that seems to be of like interested kids that could bring them over to Nintendo. Otherwise, I don't think Mario, Zelda, all that's our generation. We love that stuff because it came out when we were growing up.
Same with Pokemon. I don't think kids now love Pokemon. I haven't seen.
My nephew did. He got into Pokemon.
He's
young, and so they still do. The cards is still a big thing. But anyway, whatever.
Yeah. Let's get Nintendo out of here, bro. We got better topics for sure.
Moving on.
Next on the list, before we do any of that, though, we do have the homie Dark and Jelly. My dude, thank you for being here, man. Member for 16 months, bro. Goddamn. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for the support. Says,
thank you.
Just wanted to say Queen Witch is away on a family emergency. Please keep her in your thoughts. Well, of course, that sucks, man. Queen Witch, obviously, and Dark, our thoughts and prayers and love are with you and the family. So hopefully everything's okay. But definitely send her our love as well,
you guys.
And we do have to shout out the motherfucking homie Gil Lee Han. That's
Let's
right.
Go.
Our dude went ahead and became an On Point Squad member.
Woo!
Y'all know what to do.
Tell him, baby.
Put the motherfucking welcome to the family emoji in the chat. Welcome our newest member, man, Mr. Gil Lee Han. Thank you, my
Gil Lee. Thank you so much. Welcome. That's so dope.
Thank awesome you. Of you, sir. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much. And then we have our homie Do UK, now the broke boy insider with that $2 super chat, says, and do you think these prices will go down?
Nope. That's a part of the problem as well. You know, you're not going to go ahead and get anything more than maybe $50 off on the console on, Black Friday. Obviously not this year. I don't think so.
Depends.
In the Joy-Cons, dude, like the ones for the Switch are still the same freaking price. It just
for the original.
That's just how they do things. That's
super wild. Like that's way crazy to still be charging that shit. But that's what they do, man. That's what they do. The only way is if they get humbled, like they did with the 3DS. Right? When they came out with that 3DS, they thought they were big dogs. They made it way more expensive than anyone else was willing to pay. They said, but we got 3D. We got 3D in there, and it's going to be more money. And guess what? Ain't nobody buy that shit. And then what they do, they lower that price, and they gave everybody who did buy it a bunch of free shit, right? That's all I can hope for. You know what I'm saying? At this point, is all I can hope is that they get fucking humbled, and they have to lower the price of everything to learn.
And that then still... people give them the side eye and they don't get the sales.
Oh yeah,
gamers gotta come together, man. You gotta come together and you gotta come to an agreement and be like, you know what, we gotta push back on this. Let's not FOMO take over, and just be patient with stuff too. You don't need to get shit off the get-go, man. So like, there's no games out there, bro. I'm pretty sure none of you guys that are watching right here right now are in need of a Nintendo Switch at the moment. Come on, bro. We just got Ironfall, South of Midnight, Doom is coming, Elder Scrolls might be dropping the next week. We got Expedition 33, Doom, yada, the whole thing coming. Like, come on, bro. Chill. You don't need that shit.
Much. I agree.
So much, bro. It's real crazy.
Yeah.
The lineup, it's not right, man. You don't show up like that. Yeah. I can't. I still can't believe what they did. It's just it's a bit ridiculous, man. It really is.
Yeah, it was slap in the face. To do what they did, right? Abusing the power, right? They think they have some leverage, but that's what it is, right? Everybody seems cool until they get the power, right? And that's where you see the true colors. And every time these people have had power, they have all abused it.
Yep.
Every single one of them. It's just what it is. And the difference now is that Xbox has positioned itself in a way that its power comes from everyone having access to their games. So their power against their competition is actually a benefit to us. And that's where this becomes
their power is the
beautiful thing for us.
competition's weakness. And when you start turning it around, I think this is where it's all going to get really, really messy.
100%. That being said, before we move on, motherfucking Dark Angelic,
yo,
our boy went ahead and gifted 5 on point for gamer memberships, man. My dude.
Thank you.
Y'all know what to do.
Tell him, baby.
Put the motherfucking welcome to the family emoji in the chat. Welcome our newest members, man. We appreciate each and every one of y'all.
Welcome,
you guys. Thank you so much. And of course, our boy Dark Angelic, man. Thank you, my brother. I see.
Thank you so much.
Stilo Facts.
Woo.
I see Derek Johnson. I see Cullen Prime. I see Edward Lafferty and Zach motherfucking Riley.
Let's go. Welcome, you guys.
Welcome.
Dark Angelic, thank you so much.
You guys are the shit. Thank you so much. And of course, our boy, Dark Angelic, our homie. Thank you so much, man. Much appreciated. All right. On to the next. On to the next. Let me get this over here. So
you know they're gonna have an OLED too, by the way, you guys.
They are.
They're gonna have the OLED version of the Switch 2. They're gonna have, the theme ones as well.
That's the
this
bullshit.
Is not where it ends. So the OLED, so the regular Switch was OLED? 300. The OLED was 350.
Okay.
So if we're looking at 450, the OLED is going to be, I'm assuming, 500 and up. If they decide that they're not going to stick to that $50 gap, it could be $100 this time. We don't know. So it's a bigger screen.
Bigger screen.
So
more. They have the refresh rate is higher, so they got to get a higher refresh rate OLED. There's definitely it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they try to do. But I mean, you're only going to get that once they feel like enough people bought the original, right? Like it's going to be based off the success of the original before they do any of that stuff. So yeah, I'm with you, babe. They're definitely going to be aiming for that higher dollar whenever that comes. And then you got the specialty ones, like you said, the different games. I'm sure they'll make a Mario one whenever they do the new Mario, probably a Zelda one, and all this other shit. So, Be Nice says OLED's probably gonna be $550.
Exactly. So, we're looking at a bigger jump.
Which I could even see that, because they'll be like, well, yeah, it's not gonna come with a game, but I mean, people are already spending $500 on the console. Even though they're getting Mario, still they're spending $500, so $550 would just be a natural evolution for them, right? That's real wild. We got the homie Gil Lee Han back in the building with that $5 super chat. Appreciate you, homie. Thank you so much. Says the Switch 2 Pro controller is $133 in South Africa.
Ooh.
Twice the price of the standard Xbox Series controller. Damn, Nintendo. It's bad and arrogant.
Well, yep. That's the thing. The idea, and I think that's the problem with the humbling that needs to take place. And we said the same thing with PlayStation, the way that they had been behaving, right? But the same thing needs to happen. I think a lot of these people that, are out there, supporting Nintendo or telling people that this is okay. I think the idea that, Nintendo can sell anything, when we've seen Nintendo essentially fall plenty of times, even with their consoles, is one good, one bad, one good, one bad. Like, this is not a steady race for them. And for people to go out there and try to put out this narrative that Nintendo can do no wrong, and no matter how much they ask for or what kind of shitty crap they show up with, people will just go ahead and buy it. I think we're playing a game here, Nintendo, that it's not gonna necessarily turn out well for you, or at least not the way you think it will, because in this economy, people are again. The chat told me it was true. I saw it online. People are renting chickens to get eggs because eggs are so freaking expensive now. That is cheaper to go ahead and do that. I wasn't sure if it was true. You guys told me it is, so I believe you. That's crazy. I don't think people are like, you know what? Put my chicken on hold. I'm gonna go ahead and get this Nintendo Switch real quick. I don't know. It's wild.
Should we buy chickens?
What? No.
I'm just saying.
Are you crazy?
You know what I'm saying?
Don't worry. The prices are going to start coming down, so that's not an issue. Don't buy chickens.
Give it to us. I'll start buying chickens right when it back to normal price. Oh man,
it's not worth it, bro. Dealing with all the crap that the chickens drop and shit.
Exactly. I'm not. No. That's not for me.
Listen. Meet the Cheater says they already own chickens. So, you know what I'm saying?
Well, good for you. There you go. See? No renting chickens.
All